So today I want to talk about how we can live on £1,000 a month or thereabouts in a caravan for a year or more. I'm going to go through specific figures. I've been calculating all of this using a spreadsheet. Gotta love a spreadsheet. And I'd be interested to see what you think, whether this is practical, whether it's not practical. So the actual plan next year in March is to cash in my 25% tax-free lump sum from a £150,000 pension pot. It's slightly more than that, and I'll update you nearer the time, but I'm hoping it will gain between now and then. That's the idea anyway. Then we're looking to sell our property. Now, I know the housing market is quite slow at the moment. We may have to relinquish some of our equity to get a quick sale. But I'm sure that'll go fine. It may not, but assuming it does, that's the plan. So we're looking at about 100,000 equity in the property. It could be less than that, it could be a bit more than that. And then 150,000 pension pot. After I take my 25% tax-free lump sum, I'll have 112,500. And then I'm going to show you how that's going to work to stick to our budget whilst living in the caravan. Now, a couple of things before we do that. My name is Steve, by the way, and welcome to the channel, Casting Off. This is all about casting off the kind of shackles of the treadmill. I'm looking at stopping working next year. That's the overall plan. We're in a situation where we have a large interest-only mortgage payment of £740 a month. I'll come back to that in a second because I've got an update for you as well for those who have watched before, and various other outgoings that are related to the property. Once we get rid of the property, our outgoings, we won't have any debts left. Those will all be cleared, but the mortgage is the main thing, and we just need to clear that off. That will massively free up a lot of our income, which is why we believe that we can live fairly frugally on £1,000 a month or a little over in a caravan for a little while. And then the ultimate plan is to move to France, buy a property over there, cheap as chips, and as long as it's habitable and able to move into it, doesn't have to be all this done up contemporary style and squeaky clean and everything else like some people expect. We're not about that at all. It's more about freedom of lifestyle, not lavish lifestyle. So the other thing you need to know is the 25% tax-free lump sum that I'll take, which will be about 37,000, we are going to use to purchase a tow vehicle, which I've budgeted 15,000 for. We will need, if we buy the Ford Ranger, which won't have the wet belt because it's the 3.2, it has a chain, but they can have problems with an oil pump, which can be fixed for less than £200. So I've factored that in. We're looking at servicing our existing caravan for about £250. Someone will come out and do that. It may need new tyres, it may not. It's been standing still for quite a while, so it may well do. I've allocated 10,000 to clear some debts. A laptop of 2,000 because I'll need that. I won't be able to have my PC with me in the caravan. And that will leave around 10 grand to put in the bank to live on for the first year. I'll explain more about our yearly outgoings in a second. The other thing you need to know, I've sold my boat, got a few thousand for it. I've put 1,000 straight into investments just to track that and just show you how that particular index fund is performing. I'll talk about that in another video. Cleared a couple of small debts, and I've also cleared our mortgage arrears, which was just over a month arrears. We were in negotiation with them to pay that back over a period of months. So our payment now, rather than being £840 a month, is now £740 a month because I've cleared the £900 straight off that we owed. Going forward, my wife now has a job, and that's pretty much doubled our income, really. We have some online income that we're building up. I'll talk about that in another video. Plenty of money now. We might even be able to put some money into savings to build up our pot when we're looking at fully retiring next year. All right, so let's get into the budget. I'm going to try and record my screen here. So we've got Excel. So on the left-hand side, you can see the budget. I haven't put it in order of larger to smaller, so you'll have to kind of go through that. Now, I know some people might question Netflix, Microsoft, Adobe, what's all this? None of your business. So we'll have some subscriptions. I was just going to lump that in as subscriptions so that nobody picks up on it. But I have Adobe because I have editing software, which I like and use. I know there is things like DaVinci Resolve, which is free, and there's various other free things. I also have some other software for photo editing and that kind of stuff, which I've paid outright for. So there's no subscription on that. Mobiles. Now we'll use the mobiles. One of those mobiles is 5G. There is another SIM card that I have. I actually use two for work. I may keep that, so that might go up to £30 a month. That may stay the same at 20. I don't know yet. See how we go. But one of those is 5G anyway, so we'll use that for internet using a Wi-Fi hotspot on our phone. We also have a router that can take a SIM card, so we can use that in the Caravan. The fuel, now I've worked this out that over a year we've looked at the route of where we're going to be going, and I've looked at diesel prices currently. I haven't taken into account an increase in diesel, but I have overestimated, and I've looked at the route that we're going to be going. Going to and from shops and stuff like that, we're going to be using our e-bikes. We have matching e-bikes that we got some time ago, which I've actually been using for work, which is, for deliveries, which is great. And completely free, we charge it on the solar. So that's the fuel cost. Might be a little bit more, might be a little bit less. Laundry, we've actually got a desktop camping washing machine, but it won't take big things like sheets and towels. So we will have the odd laundry expense, and I've estimated that to be about £15 a month. Caravan Club, and one thing I haven't put in here yet, our tow vehicle tyres. I'm assuming they're £100 a tyre for a truck, depending on what type we get. And I know that because I asked the guy down at my local tyre place. And so, new tyres, 4 new tyres a year. We probably won't need to change them every year because we're not going to be doing that many miles. But I've factored that in anyway. It's all swings and roundabouts, really. Site fees on there, I've averaged at 15 a night, but with the Caravan and Motorhome Club, we can get lots of small, like Farmers Field type locations at £10 a night. No electric, 'cause we don't need that, but it will have water and waste, which is all we need. Gas, slightly overestimated on the gas that we'll need, just in case, really. And you can see everything else there. Now, what I've done is I've taken that figure there. Over here, I've taken into account my wife's pension of £400 a month, and then the drawdown monthly that I've required to make the total. So the total there, £1,200. It's a little bit over, but I have allowed £400 a month for shopping. Now, we don't spend £400 a month anymore for shopping now. For two of us, it's about £300, or maybe even less some months. So we don't live, as I say, a lavish lifestyle. We don't go out for meals really ever. We had some chips on the beach the other day, but we don't go out for meals. We generally cook at home, and we enjoy doing that. So then what I've done is I've taken that figure there and moved that over to a different page, which is here. So that's my drawdown per annum. Then what I've done is, rather than putting, if you've seen this channel before, you've seen my kind of ready reckoner that I had over here before. But what I've done is I've taken out the inflation and I've put it onto here. So it'll be, I've just moved it really so the drawdown that I would require, I've factored in inflation for this figure here going up. I hope that makes sense. So if I put in there 3.5%, which is the CPI figure released by the government. Now, I know that I had a comment from somebody saying, no, you should factor in 10% inflation. Well, I'll do that in a second. The timescale, 6 years. Now, 6 years, it'll be 7 years till my wife gets her pension. But with the 10 grand that we'll have spare from the 25% lump sum, we will still have another 10, we'll have 10,000. So that'll be 1 year covered. Now, I'm not planning on living in the Caravan for 6 years, right? This is going to be a year out, kind of like a holiday. I know someone said that we'd have 2 years max holiday at 150,000. That's just kind of not the kind of holidays that we do. Absolutely not. We're very used to living frugally on holiday. So yeah, a 6 year timescale is not really realistic. We're not planning on living in the Caravan for that long. We'll be spending time looking at our further options, which are still really on the table. And I'm going to do another video about all of the different options we're considering, France being one of them. Living on a boat was the original plan. But there's other issues and factors that are involved with both, really. So I'll go into that in more detail next time. But we're looking at assuming we were going to stay in the Caravan on this budget, on that budget for more than 1 year. I've got the drawdown there, and then what I've done is added inflation. But the inflation is added over a 6 year term, so it will gradually increment from that figure there to the 12,000 odd. But what I've done is I've carried that over as if it was instantly that figure. So way overestimated, all right? And and that's based on 112,500, right? That's also assuming no gain. So this money will be invested, but assuming no gain at all over 6 years, I'd still have 29,500 left. If I stuck it in a savings account and earned, I don't know, 0.5%, don't know what savings rates are now, I'd have 31,000. If I had it invested, and I'm confident I could gain 5% a year, I'd have 54 grand still left. We'd also have some money left over from the house sale, potentially, as well, which I can't factor in yet because we haven't had the house valued. So, even at a very conservative gain of 2%, 38%, let's stick in 10% inflation. It's still doable. It's still doable. And that's, look at the annual withdrawal, at 10%. I don't need anywhere near 17,000. 17,000, what's that a month? 17,704 divided by 12. 1,475 plus my wife's 400. That gives us 1,800 a month. Don't need that at all. We can live on, really comfortably on 1,500 a month, easily. We don't spend that on food and lifestyle stuff even now at all. So it's just the other bills like the mortgage and the standing charges on the water, the gas, and the electric and everything else, which we won't have. We won't have any of that council tax. We won't have any of that at all. So 17,000 totally unrealistic, but even doable for 6 years, and then my wife's pension will kick in, and then another 6 years, and then my pension will kick in, or another 6 years, my pension will kick in, my state pension. So in the meantime, we might have developed some other income as well, which I'll talk about in another video. So even just with that 112,000, it's doable. People are saying that we can't do it with 150,000. I just wanted to show you some real figures, really. If I've missed something, let me know. Don't be rude, please. But just let me know. And there's a couple of other things that I haven't included on there, which are things like National Trust and English Heritage, things like that, which we may sign up for both of those. And I think they're about £100 a year each. So what's that? 20 quid a month or something like that. Because we might want to visit various heritage sites, castles, and that kind of stuff around the country, and I think that'd be a nice idea, just to enhance our time on the road. So that's the budget, really. That's kind of what we've worked out. There may be other purchases, but again, until we know what the later this year, we're going to get the house valued a little bit nearer the time, and we're going to see what we might need to value it at to get a really fast sale. So even looking here, I'll put 0% gain at 10% inflation every year, and I'm taking that big figure there, which I don't need at all, then it puts me in a negative of 1.3 grand. But that's assuming naught. That's like if I shove that into a current account, earning nothing, then so even if I put in 0.5%, what do we get? It's still doable. 0.5%. I'm sure I can get 0.5% gains over a year, So yeah, I think it's doable, unless I've completely missed something huge out of the budget. But I've overestimated on a lot of stuff. Like I said, the shopping is more likely to be 300 a month. I've even put clothing in there. We don't buy clothes. I've got tons of clothes. I've got tons of stuff that will last me for several years. The only thing I probably need is a new pair of shoes, maybe. But £20 a month, what's that? A couple £100 a year. Well, I don't spend that on shoes. I might buy some trainers for 50 quid. I've got several pairs of boots, and they're all pretty new. So yeah, we're not going to need all that kind of stuff. But I put it in there anyway, just to kind of overestimate, just to make sure that we're not falling short. But this is workable for us so far, I think. Yeah, so let me know what you think, and I appreciate you watching. I also really appreciate the super thanks from Alan 29109, who watches the channel. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate that. It was great to hear from you too. Right, I'm losing my voice now, so onwards and upwards. I think that's pretty much all the update for the moment, and I will catch up with you in the next video. Cheers.